At the start of the 2011 baseball season, everyone was picking the Red Sox to be the team to beat in October, with an off-season of picking up Carl Crawford and Adrian Gonzalez to add to their already stacked roster who wouldn't have picked them for the World Series. Then the Red Sox started 2-10. Not exactly what Red Sox Nation and Boston had in mind. Things got much better as the summer went on until September happened. They started September a half a game behind the New York Yankees and had a 9-game lead for the wild card over the Tampa Bay Rays. By the end of the month, it came down to the last day of baseball. So of course, they were the talk of every show on ESPN. They had won only 5 of 17 games. All they needed was a win against Baltimore and Tampa to lose. Or in worst case scenario, they played the next day in Tampa for a tiebreaker. The Red Sox went into the 9th inning up by 1 run with their number 1 closer Jonathan Papelbon on the mound and only 1 out remaining in the game. It soon all fell apart. He blew only the 2nd save of the year with 2 runs at the bottom of the 9th. There was still hope. Tampa had not fully come back from their 0-7 deficit against the Yankees. It was an extra innings by the time the Sox were finished. Moments after they walked into the clubhouse in Baltimore, Evan Longoria hit the game-winning home run in the 12th in Tampa. The Sox season was officially over at that very moment. The next day, ESPN was already breaking news of talks between Boston's manager Terry Francona and the team owners. It seemed a parting of ways between Francona and the team was imminent. By Friday night, they had broken the official news of Francona leaving the team. Shortly thereafter, all kinds of information seemed to come pouring out of Boston on every news site across the country. Whether it be ESPN Boston, Twitter, Facebook, or Nesson, stories of Francona's lack of control over the team, lost influence on former team leaders, marriage, and supposed painkiller problems was all the buzz. Then the biggest story of them all came out in the Boston Globe a few days later, followed by ESPN and every other sports feed possible. Some of the team's starting pitchers were drinking beer, eating fast food fried chicken, and playing video games in the clubhouse. John Lackey, Josh Beckett, and John Lester had just become the headline of the September meltdown. There were some other contributors to this clubhouse implosion brought up in these stories. There was team strife about a rescheduling of a makeup game, tension between players because of things that had happened in the previous year regarding injuries, players not adhering to their training regimens, and David Ortiz saying he wanted to play in pinstripes next year due to the drama in Boston to an ESPN reporter. Between ESPN, Twitter, and Facebook, you couldn't escape the stories of Boston if you wanted to. Every site had a different version of the story and a different opinion of the happenings. Red Sox Nation was making it known how they felt on Twitter, and it wasn't looking good for Boston. They wanted somebody's head in exchange for the season of letdowns. It seemed the September downward spiral was continuing on into October. It didn't get any better for Boston when general manager Theo Epstein started talks with the Chicago Cubs. They wanted him to become the next GM and head of baseball operations for them. Soon after, ESPN again broke the news that Epstein and the Cubs had come to an agreement. It seemed as though nothing was going in a positive direction for the Red Sox. I think the story of September was almost blown out of proportion by the coverage in the social media and mainstream media. It had almost been a month since the stories out of Boston started breaking, but they're still talking about it. I think all the stories and talk is just influencing more drama. It's causing the former players, current players, and owners to come out and talk about or try to defend what was occurring in Boston, something that I'm sure Larry DiCino or John Henry would rather not discuss at all. It also almost allows the people working for the media to dig farther into what was going on and create more chaos for the team. As for the social media, it definitely creates a place for the fans or the mainstream media to candidly comment on the situation. Whether it is good or bad, almost everyone had something to say, even if they weren't a Boston fan. If it were not for all the different forms of media out there, this may have never been a headline it's become. It might have just been a simple story in the Boston Globe that stirred up the city, but not the whole world of baseball.